Hey, you guys.
Hola.
Hello. Welcome to Fireside Chat. I tried to print our notes and it printed the wrong page, and Justin had a twisted T sitting in front of the printer, so it jammed.
Jammed it.
Let me turn on a light here.
It's all good. It's all good.
We'll get it figured out, right? That's okay.
Good news.
Fine.
What is good news? By the way, my name's Justin.
I'm Danielle. Is the good news that you have the other group up on your phone so that we can see comments?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you guys. Hey, I do need to let you know we are broadcasting into both groups tonight, the cheer and gymnastics gym owners group, as well as the all-star cheer coaches and owners group. So, where normally we would just go into the owners group, I do want you guys to be aware we are also in the coaches group, because I thought that this topic would be super valuable for, what are you doing?
I'm just getting my little stand here.
I thought this would be super valuable for coaches to hear, because as we go through the different stages of business, your staff can play a really pivotal role in your ability to get to the next stage of business.
By the way, we are Fireside Chat. We do have the fire. And we do chat.
But we don't have any notes.
But we do chat with beverages, so feel free to indulge. This is very low-key, chill, into the night.
We are, however, going to teach you some cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's not that chill. We have a few people watching here. We got April is watching. April Higgins. Hello, hello. And
Hello.
Curtis. Ellie, I forgot how he says it. How does he say his hello?
Shalomski.
Shalomski, yes. Will Norton's out there. Hola. April says hello.
We're going to be saying hola in 6 days.
Hola.
5 days.
See.
Sunday. However many days.
Oh, there
6
it is.
days.
Howdy diddly do.
Curtis says it differently every time.
Yes, yes. April says thank you. Tracy is watching. Tracy, hello. And then Jamie, hey guys. Jamie Upton. And then Andrea, me, Josie, and Terry are here. And we got the whole
I appreciate you making this a family affair. I do appreciate that. If our kids were allowed to walk in here, like if Justin didn't lock that door, this would be Fireside Chat with all the Johnstons.
Oh, yes.
So we have Tina, we have Anna. Hello, you guys. Welcome. We're excited to have you guys on here today. So we do start every Fireside Chat. Did we do that last week?
Good news. I think we did.
Yes, we start every Fireside Chat. Maybe not last week's, but every other Fireside Chat. We start with good news. Andrea's dogs are there too. Hello, Morgan. Hello. Okay, guys. So
I think I'm in the same group as you because I'm getting the same notices. Am I? Do you want to
follow directions, Justin?
Yes. So I'm going to start off with my good news because I'm really pumped about it. Like, guys, our conference in June is going to be off the chain. It's going to be over the top. It's going to be off the hook. It's crazy. Like, no, I'm for real. No, it's for real going to be awesome.
Michelle, Raymond, hello. Yes, it's off the hook. If you're in 2001 still, this conference will be off the hook. But if you're in 2023, it's going to be great. It's going to be a really good time, and we are looking forward to having you guys there.
What is 2023? I thought 2022 was epic. It's going to be epic.
Bet.
No, for real though, like it is crazy.
I literally have no idea. I'm like trying to rack my brain. Somebody who's young, tell us.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what my senior kids say, but all I can think is bruh.
Bruh.
If I get one more freaking senior kid to call me bruh.
Bruh, it's gonna be. I don't know. They have a word. That's probably a word. It's probably something that doesn't even mean what it means, but they just reuse it for something else. That's pretty much what their words are now.
Yeah, guys, so we have two for lit.
It's going to be lit. Straight up going to be lit.
Actually, I did hear Connor say that, and I'm like, you realize that is back from my day. So,
which
we actually
mean lit back in the other day.
Yes, it did.
No, lit used to mean
whatever.
Hi.
Justin.
You were lit.
So we actually have two foreign exchange students who live with us, and so it's been fun to try to explain what these things mean.
Yes.
And thankfully, we have teenagers ourselves, or we would actually have no idea, and they would be talking like 40-year-old people.
Raymond said it's fire. That is true. Straight fire. It's going to be straight fire. But no, like we've never had this many sponsors. We've never had like this many outside speakers other than Next Gen staff and ourselves speaking. So it is, and 3 different tracks. We got basically all encompassing your gym, like coaches, managers, owners, everything.
We're going to get into this tonight, but if we forget or if you fall asleep because Justin was too boring, then we just have to say it at the beginning.
This will be me waiting for you to finish. Until the end.
Kidding me?
No, I won't.
ngconferences.com. Make sure you go get registered.
Oh, it's just cool.
Okay.
Cool.
We do have a couple comments on here. First of all, the word is fire.
Yeah, I already got that one.
Secondly,
it's lit fire.
Andrea liked my comment on ASGA about the controversial post. Thank you to Danny Kahn for really just stirring the pot there.
Yeah,
I saw you didn't comment, but I saw you stirred the pot. Yeah. Appreciate that. Gave me a lot of good blog content, so you'll be seeing some blogs based off of those posts.
You're going to get him in trouble with his wife now for naming him.
It wasn't him. Someone logged into his Facebook account.
He got hacked.
Did that. Wasn't him.
Oh, you just got him in trouble.
Slay. So real quick, yeah, slaying in the U.S. is tough for foreign exchange students. They actually said that. They said that is, you know what, Gigi, she's from Italy. One of her favorite things is that she said Americans take any word and turn it into a verb or a noun. I'm trying to think what she was referring to, but there's we do it all the time, and I didn't recognize it until recently. So, yeah. Oh, I know what it is. Spooning. She heard the phrase spooning and she's like, I don't get it. And so I explained you're the big spoon or the little spoon. And she thought that was the funniest thing because she's like, you guys can literally turn anything into a verb. And I'm like, I guess that's what we do.
Hey, Sonia's watching. Marie Loves says, I want to attend. Can I get details?
Yes. So the link is live right now, ngconferences.com. You can go to it. I'll also post it here in the comments shortly. And yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of the biggest venues that we've ever had.
Yeah.
One of the nicest ones. And it's in Dallas, Texas. So it's just going to be awesome.
Did you have good news or was that your good news?
Every day it feels like it's growing and new people are wanting to speak and we're having people that want to speak and they're people from World Cup and all over the place. It's just cool. It's pretty awesome. Everywhere.
Okay, guys, really quick because we are 10 minutes into this and we haven't even started. Really quick, give us your good news because I really hate to start and miss that. My good news is we'll be in Mexico this time next week. So I'm super excited about that. Sorry, we'll be leaving you guys. There will be no Fireside Chat next week because we will be drunk on a beach. No, we'll be hanging out on a beach very responsibly.
Yeah. We want to show these foreign exchange students true American culture.
Actually, that was my comment to the company when they were like, you want to take them to Mexico? And I'm like, it's the most American thing you can do for spring break. So, yes.
Yes, we got lots of smiles on that one.
Yeah. So if you guys have any good news, post it in the comments. I know there's a bit of a delay. Should we get started, though?
Yeah, Raymond had a good news.
Yeah, Raymond.
Yeah, he said, I was at the Vegas conference, and it was amazing, so make sure you're there. It's fire.
Was that good news, or were you just trying to do this thing?
It was just fire. I don't know. That's what the kids do now.
I can actually see Raymond saying that.
Straight lit. Okay.
Yep, I can see that. Oh, yikes. Cheer drama this week only. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, well, we've got some good stuff to talk about tonight. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the 4 stages of business. This is super important for you guys, whether you are an owner or, like I said, we're also broadcasting into the coaches and managers group tonight. We want you guys to know about the 4 stages of business so that you can recognize if you're getting stuck in one of them, right? Because the last thing you want is to be stuck in a stage of business and not sure how to move to the next stage because some of them suck a little bit. There's fun parts, but then they're not always the greatest and you're like, okay, let's get to the next stage because I know the next stage could be really great. Okay?
Yep.
So let's talk about the first stage of business, which is called the startup.
Yes.
Hold on. I'm going to push
Marie,
a button.
Marie will answer your question about what's included in conference at the end. Because Danielle's shutting me down.
No, it's because our camera's reversed and I went to go do this and say, it's a baby.
Oh, yeah.
But actually it's...
Yeah, that way. There you go.
This way. We're going to talk about not the baby, the baby. So if there's any confusion, not a huge baby, a huge baby. Okay? So let's talk startup. So when you're talking about a startup of business, for us, this was back in like 2011, 2010. I was coaching cheerleading, but was running it as a business. I was a contractor out of a community center. For us, that was probably 3 years that it took us to get out of this phase, which was way too long. We don't.
Yeah.
Did you have? Oh.
No.
We don't want you guys in the stage of business this long. Why? Because in the startup phase of business, you are working like 1,000 hours a week. Okay.
Like for real, lots of hours.
And a lot of you guys, I had a full-time job about the first 6 months we owned a gym. A lot of you guys have been doing this for years with a full-time job. Dan did it for years with a full-time job. You did it for 2 years.
Yep.
With a full-time job. And it can be super exhausting. It is a cause for burnout in a lot of owners. And if you don't get out of this phase, you can literally be in year 10 running your business like you're a startup still. And that's usually when we see owners that are like, forget it. I don't care about selling it. I don't care about putting anybody else in charge. I just want out.
You know the picture of the 80-year-old man and it says, hey, I'm 57 and I'm doing great. No, you feel like you age 3 times as long too. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the startup phase too long.
Yeah.
So what the startup phase looks like. Any question anywhere, the answer is ask the owner. What's the price of this? Oh, let me get the owner for you. How do I do this? Let me get the owner for you.
Yep.
Okay, that's always going to be the answer in this phase. It's an exciting time when you're thinking about it because you're like, oh my gosh, I get to make so many decisions. Like, unless you're like decision paralysis. But you're like, there's so many, like the world is your oyster. You can literally decide to do anything. You can make it better than any gym you've ever been to before. You can be a better boss than any boss you've ever worked for before. The problem is you find your limitations, and the limitations are usually your own time and your own energy because this is a really exhausting phase.
Squirrel. Carrie Lee said, good news, she's bringing her entire team to conference in Dallas.
Yeah, okay. That is great news.
Back to it, sorry.
Okay.
That was a quick squirrel.
Yeah. So you don't usually realize how exhausted you are during this time. I will tell you, I think it was 2014, Angie and I, some of you guys have heard this before. Angie, so we have business partners, Angie and Dustin.
Yep.
And we have
4 of us.
Yep.
2 couples.
We have since day one. Trust me, Dustin, Justin, really confusing, kind of sucks. To have those names, but you just yell for one and then usually the other replies. So
that's how it works.
Yeah, we're used to it by now.
Until you're yelling for your wife.
You have no reason to get names mixed up.
I get totally.
Danielle and Angie, no reason to get names mixed up.
Okay. Totally screwed that up. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, so
it's a long story. Go ahead.
It's not really. Anyway. You are so rabbit trailed right now, and now you're really throwing me off here.
Sorry. Get back on track.
So the point of this here is that one day, Dustin and Justin both still had full-time jobs. Angie and I are working at the gym, and we have full-time jobs, and we're like, we should clock in. This would be fun. Let's just clock in and see how many hours we work. Now, forget about the fact that we all have the internet at home, and we all work at home sometimes too. This is just the amount of hours we are specifically in the gym. By Thursday, we started on Sunday. By Thursday, we were at 88 hours. That did not include Friday family fun night, Friday daytime playtime, Saturday birthday parties that we were going to work because we were still doing everything ourselves. And on top of that, this was 2014. We had a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old at home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And who was doing all the cooking and cleaning?
Cleaning? No, I was still doing the cleaning.
I was doing all the cooking and the laundry.
Our kids ate hot dogs for 3 years.
Okay. Who was doing all the cooking? I was doing all the cooking, and that wears you out.
They ate
fast.
potato chips and were malnourished.
You learn to appreciate your spouse, really, really.
Or your mother-in-law.
Or somebody. You appreciate all the help you get, yeah.
So this was a really tough part of business, and especially when you have little kids at home, it's actually pretty sad. Right? Because you look back and you're like, I really miss those years. And at the time I thought, okay, just a couple more years until they're all in school and this will be much easier. And so you have to remember the work will always expand to fill your time. So if you find extra time, you're like, hey, I don't have to be a volunteer for this and that anymore. I've got extra time on my hands. That's great. I'm going to get more family time. probably what's going to happen is you're going to fill that time with more obligations, whether it's from the gym or from somewhere else. So your work will always expand to fill your time in this stage of business. You're not usually very good at delegating. You don't have the people to delegate to, or not even necessarily the skills to delegate just
or
yet.
time management.
Your time management sucks at this stage.
If you're not managing your time, something else is managing your time.
You can be a genius, but you don't have the tools or resources in place to do what you need to do.
Yep.
A lot of times, you guys, you're not paying yourselves at this stage either. Your idea is the money needs to go back into the business. So I need to put my money back into the business so that we can buy more mats. The amount of owners I hear that think that mats are going to solve their problem. Okay, they want to buy more mats. They want to, you want to be able to hire staff, which is great. You want to be able to paint this wall and get more stuff for the front desk and pro shop and all this stuff. The problem is you're not paying yourself, and it becomes kind of a vicious cycle because your expenses will always expand to match your revenue. So if you don't start paying yourself right from day one, whether it's $25 a week or whatever you want to pay yourself in the beginning, your expenses will always expand to match your revenue. So if you bring in $500 a week, you will find $500 worth of expenses. I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and it's more common than you think. I just talked to a gym owner today, 1 year in business, and both of them were not paying themselves, and they have 7 staff, not paying any of them. They're all volunteer.
So this was one of the reasons I really wanted to stream this into the coaches group too, because I think as an owner, it's hard to tell your staff, hey, owners do not get paid as well as you think they do, right? And so let us be the people that are kind of educating coaches now and telling you, like, your owner is probably making less than you think they do. And a lot of times the pay structure in All-Star Tier is upside down because they need you so badly that they're willing to pay you and pay you well, but they may not even be taking a check themselves. And the amount of hours they're working, we've calculated before that an owner's effective hourly rate at this stage is sometimes as little as $6 an hour.
We've had people do it, and it was like
negative, I suppose.
$1.45 an hour. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
It makes you feel bad a little bit, you know.
Yeah. So this is a stage of business you have to go through, though, right? Like, you can't get out of this stage of business.
Right.
Well, you can get out of it, but you can't skip it. It's a startup phase that just has to happen. And so our goal here is to get you out of this stage of business as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that here in Next Gen, what's our goal to get you out of that first stage? Because we match our ownership path with this. First stage is to break even. Yep. So our goal, we want you to break even so that you're not losing money. I know owners that have put their own money, like husband works, wife owns the gym, and they've been putting husband's money into the gym for over a year. Yep. So our goal is to get you out of that stage.
Yeah, negative on that one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the second stage of business here.
Second stage.
Is our growth stage. Look at you. You're off to school. Okay. In the growth, hold on. I'm going to go backwards for just 1 second because I want to show you.
Oh, she's got cool diagrams here.
I made a cool diagram. This is also what happens at the startup stage. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that this is startup here, but now you can. Yeah. Okay. So at the startup stage, you're the owner and you are literally doing every task in the business. So when I'm looking at this, here are all of the various tasks, the payroll, the taxes, the buying the stuff for the pro shop, buying the stuff for the snack bar, teaching all the classes, working the front desk, calling the families who are inquiring about classes. Literally, it is everything. Yes, Curtis is ahead of me here and I like it. He's saying the hub and spoke structure, where you are the end all be all and you are the only way that anything gets done.
Yep. You're the central person. So if you leave or something happens, you're sick.
You have a sick family.
The business pretty much closes that day.
Pretty much.
Close it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, and I know I have this under growth. It shouldn't be under growth right now. Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Startup.
Yeah. You ignore the little girl and her big girl panties.
I was just ready. I was ready for the next one. Yeah. So this is your startup phase, right? Yep. You're the one doing everything. So
Can they still see us in the bottom there? Like,
they see what we see. It's a bit
Oh.
of a mess right now,
oh
Justin.
no, it's okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next stage here,
Yes.
which is going to be your growth stage. And give me just a second because I am going to pull up the correct
There we are.
graphic
We're
for
back.
that. It's us. Oh, hey.
So growth stage for us was 2014 to 2017, like 3 more years.
Yeah, so it slowed down for 2 reasons for us. The first one is we were the geniuses that thought, hey, we're actually pretty good at running this gym. So let's open a second one. So we owned a gym for less than a year before we opened our second location.
Very ambitious.
It was Justin's idea. If you know him, you believe that.
Yes.
So the growth model is built a little bit differently. You finally got some staff here, and your staff are helping you run a couple things.
Yep.
Okay, so your goal in that growth is to really find some key people who can help you. That doesn't mean you're not doing main tasks. Like, you still have really important tasks, but now you have staff who have a couple of tasks as well. So in this stage of business for us, we had a manager named Jenny. This is literally stock photos, but it would be fun if this were their photos.
Yeah.
But so pretend on the left, this is a manager named Jenny, and she is now responsible for answering phones, doing the pro shop, ordering the stuff for the snack bar, and running front desk at night.
Front desk. That was the main job.
Yeah.
Front desk, yep.
Over on the right, you would have, let's say, Jackie.
Yep.
Jackie actually coaches at a program in Alaska now, so she might be watching this at one point.
Yeah.
Jackie would be over here, and she would be in charge of helping get us registered for competitions, scheduling extra practices, doing a lot of the cheer stuff, and then maybe even running, some of our class lesson plans and stuff like that. But as the owner, you're still responsible for a ton of those main tasks. Okay, so it's still kind of hub and spoke, but now you're starting to expand it out into other people. So in theory, this all sounds like it's really good, right? Because now you've got some people in place. At this growth phase, though, you're going to see the rotation of people a whole lot more. Yep. So did we have great staff retention during this phase?
It was terrible. Like, we were growing, and we were like, warm body. Oh, you know how to do stuff? Come in.
Oh, are you breathing?
Yes.
You're hired.
Yes.
Okay. So we know today, obviously, that is not the way to do it. But back then, we just needed people. The growth in the gym was happening so rapidly that we just needed people to come coach kids, work at the front desk, do whatever we can get them to do. So as you're hiring these people, if you don't have good hiring processes in place, you're going to find that you're going to be hiring them on a rotational schedule. We actually have a coach who today is past this, but she used to make the joke. She's worked for us for 13 years.
Yep.
And she actually made the joke, I don't actually learn anybody's name until they've been here a year. She would say that because that rotation of coaches, the turnover was so high. Okay. We teach about that. So obviously attend conference because we teach how to get to the hiring process where you're going to have good long-term retention.
Correct.
We had to learn that the hard way, though.
You don't want to be the fast food place.
Yes.
That's rotating people through.
So at this stage, you're probably starting to figure out like, hey, I want to set some goals. Like, I know that I need to fix a few things in the business. I want to grow a few programs. Maybe you want to grow your All-Star program, or you're like, okay, All-Star is good. I want to grow my rec program. So you're starting to do that, starting to figure out cash flow a little bit and how to make more money and actually make your money work for you.
Yep.
And then you're probably also, you've got a little bit of data by now. So you know, like for me, every April, right after spring break, we see a lot of drops in our rec classes, and they kind of stay dropped until second week in August, and then they start to peak back up again.
Oh, yeah.
So if I want to have good enrollment over the summer, I've got to start marketing heavily in January to increase my enrollment before it goes back down in April, if that makes sense.
Trying to predict your future a little bit because you can learn from what you did in the past. And what we're talking about here is almost 6 years in being in business.
Yeah.
Which
it doesn't have to be that long for you, though.
But it can be a lot less now. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're increasing your team by hiring, you're also trying to increase services. Maybe you've got new ideas for new programs that you'd like to start in your gym. But you're only going to be successful if you start to change the verbiage from me to we. So no longer are people going, how do I do this? And the answer is, well, go ask the owner. Right? Or like, well, can I get a refund for this? Let me ask the owner.
Because now we're going to have some SMEs running around. What's a SME?
Subject matter expert.
So we're going to have some other people that are experts in that area, and they're like, hey, you need to talk to Jackie.
Yeah.
Jackie's in charge of that.
And at this level, they may not be like super high level experts, but there's some people who can answer the questions and start to take things off of your plate so that you are not the most important person in the gym at any given moment. And guys, you cannot be owners, like you cannot be the most important person in that gym at any given moment, because you're going to get sick. You're going to go on vacation. You're going to need some time off or away, and other people are going to be able to take over. You need that to be able to happen.
And it's really nice when you can have somebody else answering those questions that just continually come in. Like, hey, my daughter was sick. Can I reschedule a class? Oh, well, the owner's the only one that can take care of that. No, now we can have somebody at the front desk that can reschedule those. And it's one of those repetitive questions that continually come up, but you always have to answer it. But now we can shift that to somebody else.
Yes.
And start taking those little nitnoid things off your plate. Yeah.
Nitnoid, that's an interesting word.
Nitnoid, yeah.
Okay.
That's from like Pizza Hut. Remember the Noid?
I do.
Yeah, with the little ears.
I can't believe you do.
Yeah, I remember that.
So this is kind of where you start to solve some problems that you saw in the beginning, right? These were some of the problems that you had in startup that like you're working 1,000 hours a week. Your goal in this phase is to not work more than about 40 hours a week. Okay. You shouldn't be still working 80 hours a week at this point, because if nothing else, you're not having to coach every class all the time.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We got a couple of comments here.
Yeah, go ahead. I just, I don't have a lot.
Here you go.
Okay, yep. We have, Sonia says, if it wasn't for next gen, I'd have been stuck in startup forever.
That can be really hard. We meet people, Sonia, who are in year 9 and 10 of business, but they're running it like they're in year 1. And that is so hard to hear because they're exhausted by that time.
Well, you get stuck. What we notice is people, like, they find a way to do it, and it just works, and they just continue. But there's some more efficient ways. There's always continual learning and finding better ways to do it. So,
have you ever talked to a gym owner who like hasn't been on vacation in years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their vacations are going on their cheercations.
You get to go to Disney
every year. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, let me change that. Disney.
This year it's Universal. Next year it's Disney.
I'm not going to either.
Then it's back to Disney.
We're going to Elster Worlds. We're going to the beach.
But yeah, it's very, very true. I mean, our first few years, I'm gonna be very honest. It was super miserable for me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I work full time, then I come home and take care of kids all day long, and then come down and help at the gym as well. It was just, and then to have her wore out, tired all the time, and then at the end of the month, very sad. Can I say that? Crying. It's a lot of tears. Yeah. Because you just work, and then you're like, man, where's all the money at? What's going on? How are we going to afford this?
And I miss my kids.
Yeah, and missing the kids. Okay, April. She said, talk to April. This is not always their fault. There are times in it is my own. I have recognized where I haven't shared certain information.
Yeah.
Withholding.
Well, and whether that's intentional or not, knowing you, I bet it's not. I bet you are so busy that you're thinking about 50 different things at any given time. I'm still guilty of this. And thankfully, my staff kind of knows my brain now, so they know that they have to ask those questions. But in the beginning, people don't know to ask questions like that. Also, we have things now like Canva where they can see that I'm creating something, and they're like, oh, hey, do you need to tell us about a new idea for a class?
Morgan says hi.
Hello.
June Sanchez says, how long on average should stage 1 be?
So
that's a good one.
That is a great question. Your stage 1, if I'm being honest, I don't want it to last 3 years for you because 3 years is exhausting.
It's miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have owners. So, and I don't want to, be divulging anything. I would say April, she got out of stage 1 in a year. So the difference is she was working alongside somebody that was able to say, hey, here's my wing. Let me put you under it and let's go this way. Or she would have an idea and somebody could say, actually, that's a great idea. Here's how you do it. Do, A, B, and C. Don't skip too far ahead until you've done these things first, right?
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, always being around other people that are ahead of you. Because they can give you tips, they can help you, and then you're going to be in the same boat where you can help other people. So
not even tips, literally business coaching.
Yeah. So it's that hand up and then the hand down as well.
I'll put it this way, June, you can be in this stage. We've seen owners who've been in this stage. I would say the longest I've seen somebody in it was about 23 years. Somebody who ran their business like stage 1, working that many hours a week for 23 years. But you don't have to, and you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't even be in it as long as we were, because our goal in Next Gen is to make sure that you're not in it as long as we were.
Crystal Green says greetings.
Hello.
Yeah. Lexi Delgado said competitions are my work trips. JK.
Sometimes they are for us too, but it's because we pick really fun locations.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You can't be upset about that. Yeah.
Oh, I love going on now. It's awesome. Andrea says, hey, Crystal. Sonia Marie says, that's still me, but we're not vacationers. We prefer hiking the Grand Canyon, sleeping in hammocks. Havasupai passes are hard to come by.
Yeah, they are.
I know that one. We'd rather wait for that than taking a vacation. I believe that Havasupai,
that's the one down to the bottom?
Yes, down to the bottom. There's like a lagoon down there, or like
I bet it's cooler than a lagoon.
Not a lagoon, it's
waterfall.
A waterfall that goes into it's so cool.
Yeah, the idea of riding a donkey on the edge of death scares me a lot, but I would maybe do it. I don't do well with heights.
Bucket. I'm your bucket. We just put the list in the bucket. Okay, here we go. June says, I have scheduled closings that I schedule my family vacation. Yeah.
So, and these days, think about if you were able to have these great staff who were staying there and running things, and you didn't have to be closed, because every day you're closed, you are ultimately losing revenue. So not to stress you out with that, but every day you're closed, that happens. So imagine, I was talking to owners today on a coaching call, and I said, they said, well, we take our spring break and it's this time and the gym is closed during that time. And I said, well, what if you didn't have to close? What if half of your staff took this Saturday and the other half took this Saturday, and now you don't have to close and you can host birthday parties 52 weeks a year or whatever? She's like, oh, I never thought of that. So sometimes you just need somebody to give you the idea that hey, it doesn't have to be that way, right?
Oh, there's one other thing I want to do in the Grand Canyon. It's whitewater rafting. You can whitewater raft right down, and they feed you along. You sleep down there. It's so cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Lexi said said same here. Sarah Bauer is watching. Hello.
Hello.
Crystal Green. Hey, Andrea, I'm still miss you. Oh, sorry. June Sanchez. I'm going into year 3 in stage 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so you can copy us. You can copy us. That's okay. But I don't recommend it.
No, it took us way too long.
No. Andrea, miss you too.
I love their having a conversation here.
Yeah.
I love both of you guys.
Terry, we are almost through year 3, and I'd say we're in stage 1.75.
Terry, you're way past 1.75. Okay, we'll talk.
Okay. April says,
see.
I couldn't imagine not vacationing or being in phase 1 for 23 years. Yikes. So glad to have Next Gen. Yeah. There's a few more. We got more. Andrea says, I don't do well with heights or donkeys, so we're the same. Do it, Andrea. Just do it.
I'm going to go visit you while Justin does his little
Terry, take her out there.
hike.
Go ride a donkey down to the bottom. That'd be cool.
Andrea, we'll sit up at the top and drink.
Rafting is awesome. She will do that. Yes. Okay, let's go rafting.
I would do that too.
I would love to do that. That'd be so awesome. Anna, ugh, I just missed quite a bit. My daughter.
It's ugh.
Ugh. Okay.
Thank you.
Ugh. My daughter has the stomach flu, and my couch was just a fake.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So when you're in that growth phase, you're trying to increase services, increase your team, and
sorry.
Oh, That was funny.
Andrea, you were terrible.
Oh. So you're only successful when you start putting your team into play here and fully utilizing a decent team. I'm not saying they're the greatest team that you could ever possibly have. We had some great people. I don't know that we had a great team at this stage, but this is where you can start increasing the value with the intention to eventually raise prices. And if you're saying, how could you possibly raise prices in an economy that's inflated where people can barely afford groceries, let alone anything else? I'm here to tell you, it's life. You have to raise prices. Your expenses went up with the cost of, even if you never pay coaches minimum wage, totally okay. But your costs went up because if they can go down the street to Aldi and make $1 or $2 more than they're making at your gym, then your expenses just went up because you have to pay more. You have to pay more in taxes. Your taxes probably went up. Your insurance, if you own a building, your property taxes went up because the cost of building. Like, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but again, there's a whole bunch of coaches that are watching this right now that may not realize you have to increase prices to maintain what you're doing right now.
It's actually a mathematical equation.
It is.
Once you add up all the expenses and then put in that margin for yourself to actually stay in business and pay yourself, then that's what your price becomes. And it's an easy breakdown.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it easy, but there is a breakdown for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there are coaches out there who will look at, like, they charge $100 a month times 70 kids, 7,000 or whatever. Yeah, $7,000 a month, and I only get paid $18 an hour, or $15 an hour. Like, something is wrong here. Like, that's not wrong. The amount of expenses that an owner has are so big in comparison, and the amount of risk they're taking by owning a business is so big that's, pretty fair labor percentage.
Oh,
so
Yep.
keep that in mind. When we work with Academy members, we look at their labor percentage. And if we see that their labor percentage is low, the last thing I'm going to do is say, we'll take that profit, because that means that they may not be paying their staff through benefits or, pay as well as they could. So a labor percentage that's too low or too high is a problem.
And so that's one reason that getting your staff along with the owners all on the same page, like we want to all grow this gym so we can all do better. That's when a gym really explodes.
Yes.
So when everybody's on the same page. Okay, we got. So Andrea said something about her husband and donkeys. Terry said, I still work 60 hours a week at my full-time job, 20 hours a week at the barn, and no clue how many gym hours.
Yeah.
So he literally does work with the donkeys at the barn.
It's they're like thoroughbreds.
Thoroughbreds, yes.
Our kid really wants a donkey, though. I think it's weird.
No, it's a no. Sonia said, Justin, you can come with us. We'll send lots of pics back to Danielle what she's missing. Yes. It's so beautiful. The Grand Canyon is incredible.
I will take pictures of you.
Andrea says, and we love every single second of it. You are so appreciated. She was talking to her husband about working 60 hours.
Oh,
20
yes.
hours. Isn't that nice?
I agree.
April says, if they're still buying Starbucks or Dunkin', they can pay more. I have parents walk in with drinks from those places every practice. That's no joke.
I wish we had a Dunkin' Donuts.
They will pay
that's
for what's important to them. They will pay for what's important to them. And just because you're providing a quality product but undervaluing yourself, which is very common in the industry, it's very hard for people. It's like that thing in life where I don't know, something about money, it gets funny. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't mind going and buying something really nice and spending the money on it, but I'm not going to charge you what I think what I'm really worth. I'm not going to charge you. It's I don't know.
Somebody just made a really great comment on here. I want to know who it was. Crystal. Yeah, that sounds like a Crystal. It says, don't count other people's money, do you, and do it well, and the rest will come. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Crystal, I will say too, I think you were here in Warrensburg, and you saw, like, we've got a big house, and I think a lot of people look at it, and they're like, their gym, they must just be taking so much money from their gym. Like, here's the thing, though. Nobody thinks about the fact that Justin and I each owned a home when we got married. So we had 2 homes that you can now pair into one. We each owned vehicles. We literally had 2 of everything. We invested into property before, like when we still had full-time jobs. We had full-time jobs while we ran the gym for a long time. We ran the gym, then we opened a second business, then a third, then a fourth. There have been moments of life that we've had like 5 businesses and sold off some of them. And so like you look at it and the average person looks with their eyes and they're like, well, the gym must be paying you everything.
It's surface.
Forget that he spends all this time out there with our rentals. So, you know, it's just what people don't recognize. And I agree with you. Don't worry about other people's money. So, okay. Should we move on to the next page?
Morgan says this. Yes. All right. We're on to third phase. Go ahead.
Okay. The third phase here is maturity. Look at her. Doesn't she look so mature?
She's a grown-up girl now.
She's a grown-up girl. This one right
She's
here,
a big
not
girl.
this one. This
She's
one.
A big girl now.
I'm gonna get it right. Okay, so the third phase of business is when you have some maturity in your business. We're gonna go to what that looks like as if it were a hypothetical organizational chart here.
And that for us was like in we went to 2017 in the growth. 2018? I'd say 2018.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see my notes now, so
yeah,
I would say probably 2018.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is mature when you are in this phase of business. And basically, now pretend these are different pictures. I didn't have a lot of time here, guys, to spend all day hanging out on Canva, but actually, I did spend all day on Canva.
Is that like Kylie Jenner?
No, it is not. They're literally stock photos of people. But imagine, just put on your imagine hat for a minute. Imagine this is Melanie, and this is Lexi, and this is Patrick. Well, that's a weird one for Patrick, but anyway.
Just imagine.
And imagine underneath them, Lexi had Julia and Taylor and, you know, Kayla, and under Melanie, she had Natalie, and like all these different people, okay? These are legit names of people in my gym. But imagine that underneath me is now a layer of people who are in some position of leadership or management, director, whatever. So when we say, like for the conference, your managers, your directors, this is who we're talking about, these people in leadership positions. And then they are then in charge of other people. Now, where do the tasks go? The tasks are kind of varied. So anything that is like a basic, I'm going to fold t-shirts, I'm going to stuff folders, I'm going to vacuum floors, tends to go down on this, oh, you can't see my mouse, tends to go down on the bottom level.
The third level.
The third level down. Third level down.
Not top level, not middle level.
That doesn't mean that I never vacuum a floor. I literally cleaned a toilet on Sunday. It doesn't mean that my managers don't clean a floor or do the dirty work, but it means that they are responsible for making sure it gets done. And if the people they've assigned that to don't do it, then it's on them to accomplish, right? So this is kind of the third phase of business. So let me go back
to your
here.
Notes. Yes, there you go.
Okay, so in the maturity phase, someone else is in charge of most things. Like they almost have departments that they're in charge of. So for us, this is like marketing, HR, programs. Like there's different people, building and facility, there's different people in charge of each of those, and then they have staff underneath them.
Angelica's watching, by the way.
Hi, Angelica.
Hi.
Hello. You're not needed as much anymore, so you can take
not
vacations.
Not you, Angelica. She was just moving on.
That was poor timing. Sorry.
Yeah, that was really good. I just wanted to point that out.
You as the owner.
Yes.
Not you, Angelica, but just general you. You're not needed as much anymore. Like you can tell managers what needs to happen and they are capable of making it happen, and you can be at home 1 or 2 nights a week or however many nights a week with your kids. You can take longer vacations. You can maybe start a second location or a second business, okay? You're there to solve problems and create new products. That's your 2 jobs.
And how much fun is that? That's the most fun.
That's literally
creating
my favorite
new products, thinking up, being creative. One thing that I notice in gyms for a lot of people is they start them. They have this creative idea. It's like super awesome. They're so pumped about it. And then that's all they do. And they get stuck in that rut. And it's like day in, day out. And they lose that creativity. But this allows you to now be more creative.
Yep.
Yep.
So
this stage right here.
A lot of times, when you're working 80 hours a week, it's almost impossible to be creative. But once you can take a step back, remember your goal at growth was to get to 40 hours a week. By the time you're in this mature phase, you have some creativity because you can go to the coffee shop on Friday morning and read a book and sit and I have like my favorite coffee shop. I like to go work there and just listen to the espresso machines. It makes me happy. Okay. So you can do those things. And guess what? Your employees, your staff are so much better off when you're that boss because you don't forget to tell them things because you have the time to kind of like sit on it and think about it. You have the time to plan ahead. You're not rushing your staff with things anymore because you've planned them 6 weeks ahead. So this is my absolute favorite stage of business.
Yeah, and a good one here is this is where we probably should have started when it came to starting a second location. We did it in the second phase, which really made it.
We did it in the first phase.
First phase, I'm sorry, which made it 3 times harder because we didn't even have.
We didn't even have our systems in place at the first location before we tried making systems at the second.
I thought we were ready right then, but little did I know.
To be fair, so we don't have that second location today. It's not because it wasn't profitable. It was profitable. We did not have our ducks in a row, and our kids were so young that we resented it a little bit.
We were working 3 times as hard when we really didn't need to be, but we were making it profitable because we were forcing it. But
like, I don't want a second location today, but if we ran one, I know we could run one really, really well. And if you're wondering why I don't want to, it's because we have other businesses. We found that we enjoy that more.
Well, doing Next Gen is one of them. Like, how could you?
Well, yeah, we love Next Gen.
Yeah, I mean, how could you, affect that many people? Next Gen, you can, and it's just awesome. April says, absolutely. I looked in our area. It's time for a price increase. I realize we aren't charging what we're worth for tumbling classes. Boom.
Yeah.
Anna said, question for later. Will you offer any choreography training at your conference? That was for later. Karina said, how do you stop coaching and focus on the business side? I have staff now and I'm trying to step back, but it feels like I'm not helping my teams or coaches when I'm in the office.
So
it's a very good question.
That's a great question.
Like,
and
it's almost like a pendulum. Yeah.
So your job at this stage is to coach the coaches. Your job is not to coach the teams. So you're right. You're not helping the teams anymore directly. Your job is to indirectly help the teams. So things that you would do, training your staff more. So spending the time having the meetings, asking them whether it's one-on-one or in a group, like how are practices going? What kind of challenges are you guys encountering? I want you to do a full out tonight and upload the video. And then you're casting the video on the TV and saying, okay, so here's what I'm seeing during jumps. Do you see these landings? This is what you're going to lose on your drivers, right? Talking to them, how, have you communicated with the parents why you're changing so-and-so their position in the routine, or why you pulled them out of the air, or this and that. You're not just coaching them on the skills, you're coaching them on the communication and the planning aspect of things. So invest your time. When you're out on the floor and you're coaching the kids, it's not the most quality way to train your coaches. It's good to model that behavior, but you can do that anytime. You don't have to be doing it during practices.
At the same time, we're not telling you, no, you're not allowed to do the thing you love anymore. You are banned. Stay away from it. No, we're not doing that.
No, I coach 3 teams because I really enjoy it.
To this day.
I enjoy coaching 2 teams. I will probably not coach 3 next year because I also miss watching The Bachelor. I just want to be home one more night a week. Otherwise, I really enjoy it. Yeah. But yeah, we're not saying don't coach teams. What we are saying is you may find that there's a period of your life that you're in your business, a stage that you're like, hey, I can't handle coaching the teams and running the business right now. I need to focus. And I did this for was it 2 or 3 years? Maybe 2.5 seasons because I stopped coaching a half season.
It was a good 2 seasons, I know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you missed it.
I literally did not coach for 2.5 seasons because I was like, I just need to focus on the business right now.
But we had a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that we were going to focus on that required a lot of effort. And she had already coached the coaches on how to coach the teams. So they just continued doing what they were doing, and we focused and grew the business.
Well, and here's what you find. You find that when you're no longer on the floor, you're available for parent questions, so you can start educating them. Yep. You can start noting, wow, I'm getting asked this question a lot, which means I probably didn't communicate it very well in the first place. Yep. You can be up at the front desk. So when people have questions at the front desk, You can listen to how your front desk is answering those questions. You can observe the rec classes, because it's really, really hard to grow a rec program when you're always coaching cheer, right? You can observe, what does that look like? How is my front desk treating those people? Are they getting greeted when they walk in and when they leave? How are the skills assessments going with my rec kids? Like, you can invest into the other programs.
April said, and we love you all, so thankful. Shelly, thank you. She jumped in and answered the question about choreography. And
Yes,
she
thank
said
you, because I didn't know the answer.
we will be offering a session or two on that one. That's awesome. Shelly is the one that's in charge of conferences for Next Gen, so
Go friend her.
You are getting straight from the person creating it. Karina, thank you. It sounds like I'm on the right path. Yes.
That's
That
awesome.
is so refreshing when you hear from somebody that's been there, done that, and we talk to hundreds and hundreds of gyms that are going through the same thing. But yeah, you're definitely on the right path if you're tracking with that. Shelly, Anna said thank you to Shelly, and Morgan said hi to Shelly as well.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so other things you can do when you're at this stage of business. By now, you should have your payroll kind of ironed out. You should have some sort of a consistent pay that you as an owner are taking.
Now, when you say ironed out,
mm-hmm.
Are you still doing the pay, or have you maybe outsourced that?
Yeah, for the most part, I would say at this stage, you're probably putting somebody else. And I don't mean a staff member in your business, but like you're using a payroll service of some kind, or you have a CPA or somebody who's doing your payroll. I know Shelly has a company that she just kind of uploads everything and they do the payroll.
At some point in your business, you kind of get to that point where you're like, why, I'm spending, you start really analyzing your time. And when you look at it, you're like, how much would it cost if we were to have somebody do that for us? And once you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I could be utilizing my time a lot more effectively than sitting down for 2 hours and doing payroll every month or something like that. Maybe I should do this because it's only $145 to pay them to do this. It's, I don't know, whatever it is.
So let me explain something about my life that people who know me very well think is really funny. I've worked in some sort of an industry for just about everything before because I just enjoyed having more than one job at a time. So Justin teases me because it took me a long time to get rid of payroll and taxes because I know how to do our taxes because I worked for an accountant one summer. So like I just did our taxes in the business. I did our personal taxes. I did our payroll. Like I filed the sales tax, the employer withholding. I did all of that stuff.
Yep.
Was it the most valuable use of my time? No. Just because I knew how to do it didn't mean I was the most valuable use of my time. I built our website. I owned a website company, so I can manage everything that it comes down to on the website. Does that mean that the easy stuff to change is the most valuable use of my time? No. I trained somebody else how to do it because it's important that it gets done, but it is not always the most valuable use of my time.
She enjoys marketing, but is it the most valuable time? No, it really isn't.
I posted one thing on social media today because Melanie is in Mexico and had it all planned out, and I thought, oh, I'm going to post that. And other than that, I don't think I have posted on Twister social media in a year because somebody else does it.
But you start adding all that up, and all of a sudden you've got a full, your schedule's full, and you don't have time to be creative. You don't have time to write the blogs that irritate a lot of people.
Okay, but I really love doing that part still.
No, I'm just saying you don't have time to do that though.
Yeah. So basically what you're doing at this point is not only are you hiring some of those directors and managers, but you're looking at what are the tasks that you can maybe outsource to other people.
Correct.
Can you hire a CPA to do the bookkeeping and your taxes? Can you hire a payroll company? Do you need to manually make the staff schedule, or can you use something like Homebase where you're importing in the hours for your staff and stuff like that? Can you, whether it's a website company or Canva or something, can you hire somebody else to do a lot of that stuff? And it may feel like, man, I just don't have the money to do that. But do the math. Is it worth it investing? And can you support that role for a couple of months, knowing that after a couple of months, I now as the owner have more time to do something more important that will build the revenue in the business a lot more.
And basically at one point you want to know your hourly rate. How much are you worth per hour? Then you can start really doing calculations on that stuff. And once you start figuring out that I'm worth $100 an hour or whatever you are, and I can pay somebody less than that to continue doing it, then it starts making sense,
Yeah.
and it's logical. It's very, it's not an emotional response. It's a logical, factual, decision.
So finance, planning, and maybe some staffing stuff should probably still be on your plate at this stage. When I say finance, I mean budgeting for things, major purchases. If you do profit first, probably those profit first distributions, strategic planning and goal setting as the owner. I sort of think that will always be on your plate because at the end of the day, it's your business regardless of what stage you're in.
Okay, next stage.
Okay.
And Crystal says, "Amen, sister."
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, the final.
James Whitaker's watching.
Hey.
Lots of hearts out there.
Hello, James.
Threw out a lot of hearts on it. Yes.
We love James.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't see this graphic. This is an old lady. You don't see one of those every day.
No.
So that's right.
Ouch.
So that's not ouch.
No,
that's
good.
your answer better be. No, I don't see one of those every day.
My mom left or something. My mom moved away.
She did move away. So this is the renew or decline phase. I knew Justin would not like the name of this phase either, but it's the renew or decline because it can go one of two ways in business. Okay, when you're at this stage in business, either you will see your sales and your revenue start to decline because you are stepping away almost entirely. If it declines, that means you didn't do your job in the previous stages. You didn't turn me into we. You didn't outsource appropriately. You didn't create some sort of so like I have a dashboard, a financial dashboard with a spreadsheet basically that tells me the health and well-being of the entire business. In the academy, we have something called a big sheet. As a coach, I can look at any of my clients' big sheets and I can tell you the factual health and well-being of their business off of the metrics. So
no emotions.
No, and
not
they're
emotional.
Like, hey, how was your week? Oh, I had a whole bunch of people quit. Really? Your sales look really good though, and the number of athletes you have in the gym looks really good. Well, this is how the conversations go. Well, I mean, I did sell trials last week. Oh, how many trials did you sell? Like 7. So you lost 3 cheerleaders and it's hurting your heart, but you gained 7 new rec kids. I understand the feeling, but the fact is that you're doing great. Okay, so it's important for you to be able to have those metrics in place. In the decline or renew stage, if you are declining, it's because you missed a key component in one of the other phases. Some decline could be natural, but the goal was never to celebritize you as the owner. It was never to make you the most credible, knowledgeable person in the business.
Because what happens when you become the grandma up there? Right there.
Your arrow better go that far.
I had to really extend. Because when you become the grandma, the business dies. Like it just goes down. You're no longer the SME. The expert there.
And the other part is you might lose interest.
Yeah.
Like there are times that I think Next Gen is way more exciting than my gym. There are times that I feel like that. Okay. In the gym, I've done tryouts this is going to be my 12th season doing tryouts. It's still exciting to me. It's not as exciting as it was in year 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. We do a trunk or treat. It's really huge every year. Do I think it'll be as exciting this year as it was 3 years ago? Not unless Justin finds a new way to make people mad.
Yeah, that's my goal every year is to make people mad.
Fireworks really made our town mad.
I really gotta up my game. So Stephanie is watching. Stephanie still. Hello. Karina says, feeling like a granny, turning 29 March 6th. I'm tired.
Oh, that's funny.
Are you kidding me?
This is just a figurative grandmother, so don't feel bad yet. The other thing is, guys, when you get to this stage, this is the biggest problem I found with myself because there have been times that we're definitely in this stage. I don't have to be at the gym. I coach because I want to. I could literally decide next year I don't want to coach and it's no big deal. However, here's what happens when Danielle gets a little too involved sometimes. I create problems. So things are working beautifully. I decide that something could be easier or we should do it a different way. Why? I don't know. Just because I thought of a new way to do it. And there's no rhyme or reason to why it has to be done. You guys deal with this in choreography. Do you ever have that coach that just wants to change the routine just because they're kind of bored with it? Not because it's going to score better, not because the athletes will handle it better, but because they're just a little bored. This is what happens at that stage of business, and it can cause decline. So the other side of this is that it can renew. It can be exciting to you all over again because now you're looking at the business with a fresh set of eyes. If you did a good job in the other three, what are you snickering about?
Shelly's like, oh no, worries for your 40. Karina says this 4-month-old has me beat.
Oh, I bet so.
Yeah.
I bet so. We just like other people's babies now.
Yeah.
So, because we give them back.
I totally rabbit trailed on that. Sorry.
I know, you're literally over here snickering, and I'm like having a serious heart-to-heart with our audience here, Justin.
I was just trying to catch up on them. It's funny.
Is there anything else you have before I continue?
No more squirrel moments.
Okay. Business can increase because you are not trying to do all the things. So in those first 2 stages, guys, you were trying to do all the things. And I'm going to be honest with you, somebody else can do a birthday party better than you can. Because how big is the birthday party on your list of crap you have to do every day?
Crap.
It is crap. Because in those first 2 stages, you're doing a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Right? You're answering a lot of silly emails that anybody could answer. You could train someone else.
Nitnoid stuff. Just nitnoid stuff.
Nitnoid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Other people do a better job at it. I used to work the front desk. That was like my baby when I stopped coaching for a while because I thought that we just needed some work at the front desk. And eventually we systemized how things were happening at the front desk. And I stepped away from it. And today, when I go back into the front desk, I did that on open house last year. And Lexi actually asked me if I needed anything. Got up to the front desk. She's like, do you need anything? And I'm like, no. And she's like, okay, I think we have this. Because I was going to cause problems if I didn't just get out of the way.
Oh, I totally missed on this phone. Matt Ivy's watching. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Matt. So this is where it can be good to decide, do you still want to be part of the business? And if so, what kind of things do you love doing that you can do on a regular basis? The problem is if you take everything you love in that first and second stage and you keep it, you're going to miss out on things you have to get done and things you have to do. So you may have to give away some stuff that you love for a period of time, and then you can take it back a couple years later. Sounds crazy? Really, it works out pretty well.
And so what's the big ultimate conclusion to all of this, Danielle? How do you wrap all this up?
Well, to be honest, especially that first stage, people stay in it way too long, and it's exhausting. There is a gym owner I talked to about 2 weeks ago, and she opened her gym almost the exact same time as I did. And she said, I am just so exhausted of never seeing my family and working as much as I have for the last 12 years.
Mm-hmm. So the wrap up for me to all of this is, if you get stuck and you stay in these different areas, you will wear out, and you will be one of the victims on ASGA and some of the other ones that are literally selling everything and just having to quit because they're just wore out and they're just done.
You don't want to do this for 10 or 15 years for $6,000 that somebody is going to... This guy's going to negotiate down your equipment because he knows you just need to get rid of it because it's more expensive to put it in a storage unit.
Because I got to drive down there and gas is high right now.
I feel really bad because we once bought equipment from Julie, and I think you maybe did that, but it's before we knew her.
But anyways.
It was a good deal.
So that is if you look at the logical conclusion to some of this stuff, it's just you're wore out, you're at times unhappy, and it's a miserable, it's terrible. And we talk to a lot of people that are in that stage, and it's just, but we've got to get you out of that stage, and you've got to recognize if you're in that stage, it's just awesome to be able to recognize it and be like, what are some of the steps I need to do to get out of this stage and move to the next one? Because as you move along to the different stages and progress, it just gets, it's not easier, but it gets different, and it's better ones, and to the point where it does get easier after time. And then you have that time to, as we were saying in that fourth stage, to really just nitpick your business and just make it better. But you're not working every single hour in it, doing it all the things. Now you can really just make fine-tune corrections and really really make that business run as efficiently and as best as it can. And it's really, really, it's an awesome stage to be in. So so that's the thing. And then at the very end of all of that, you have something that's valuable, because now somebody could literally buy that business and step into your role because you have it so systemized, and that's a valuable asset to have. So
Yeah.
and a history and a culture, and people love it. It's really, really cool.
You definitely don't want to do this all these years for, $4,000 or $6,000 selling your cheer floor. At the same time, I think the big point here and the big wrap up is,
That was the wrap up. You're going to take that wrap up from me? I wrapped that up beautifully.
I have my own wrap up.
Oh man. Okay, see if she can beat my
Was
wrap
I
up.
supposed to just
Can you
say
beat
goodbye
that?
after that?
Beat that wrap up, because that was pretty good.
All I'm saying is it took us, 10 years to get to that point. And yeah, COVID played a role in it, and maybe made it take a little bit longer, but it took us 10 years to get to that point, and it does not have to take you 10 years. That's something that we do in the academy, to be very honest. Like, we make sure it is not going to take you as long as it took us, because it really you can get in those burnout stages for way too long if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have Karina said, after COVID, I feel like our gym lost its family feel or connections due to them people staying more to themselves. That was just terrible. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get back connected? And then Karina also says, feels like a business, but UW.
I miss it. I miss the family feel.
Oh yeah, I miss the family feel.
Her baby probably touched a button.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Karina, I think there's a couple different things to that. I think the first thing is making sure you're celebrating your rec kids. Well, and I don't know if you have mostly rec or mostly all-stars, but when I say rec, maybe that for you, maybe that means novice and prep. But celebrating those kids and trying your best to get to know them and their parents. Some of the things that we do, I can say, yeah, do team bonding and do this and that. But like, I'm not just talking about team bonding. I'm talking about like, we do a gym wide, or not a gym wide, but like an all competitive teams lock in every year. It's miserable. I hate it. I see pillows coming in the gym and I'm like, I feel anxiety right now. I don't even, but by the end of the lock-in, we know every kid. We know their personalities. We know all of that stuff. I get to hang with a whole bunch of the moms because, they come and we have certain people with their background checks and volunteers and stuff like that. We do those coffee and conversation meetings where you get to sit down and you get their feedback. But also, like, one of my teams, we did it in my living room. You want to talk family? Come to the gym owner's house and sit in my living room and, have a Diet Coke and just sit and talk to me about the season. Right?
Karina says, I say every year this is our last lock-in. It's true.
Too.
It's true.
Me too.
But,
I say it at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Man, the kids love it. Yeah.
I think there's other things, do you have a front desk who knows just about everybody's name? I have Lexi and Taylor and Julia, and I swear between the three of them, they know every rec kid, every rec parent. I can say the name of a kids camp, like before and after school or summer camp kid, and they know them. And I think that that's really important too. And this year we've invested a lot of time into our gym members group. So not just our all-star teams, but like a group that has all of our gym members, including our rec kid, rec families in it. And we're investing time into it so that they know who we are and we know them too.
Okay, we have one more question, and then we're going to wrap up with talking about the conference, because there's some really cool things to talk about. And I'm hoping Shelly's still out there. Anna says, I'm having issues with kids taking cheer seriously. I have a program that is beginners driven. It makes us different in our area.
So that's actually interesting because I have an informational meeting for my all-star teams tomorrow. I basically tell them, if you're not looking for anything serious, if you're just looking for fun, I've got this great rec cheer session that you can get set up for. If you're looking for like something where you're kind of interested in getting serious, but like you understand you're occasionally going to miss practices, I've got a half-year novice team that might be perfect for you. You want to rarely miss practice? Probably a prep team. You want to very rarely, literally my chart says, can miss, occasionally, rarely, or very rarely. Very rarely miss, I've got an elite team for you. Mm-hmm. So it will help them to just have that funnel. Grab the growth guide that we use in Next Gen and start building your funnel so that you can have a program for everybody. Because when I only had 28 cheerleaders, it was really hard to have a program for everybody. And you had the people who wanted to get serious and the people who wanted to just have fun. And they don't belong on the same team sometimes.
All right, Karina says, thanks for always having the best advice.
You got it.
I don't know if it's the best advice. It's advice.
What works for us?
It's worked, and we share that with a lot of people, and it seems to work. So that's awesome. All right, so conference. Let's go. Let's hit this. Dallas, Texas, June.
You were serious about hitting
23rd through the 25th. Dallas, Texas. I wish I knew the exact location because we were able to drive by it, but not like it's beautiful.
Super
really,
nice.
really nice. So owners are going to be there. We are going to have our staff there, and we're also going to have our coaches there. And the reason is some of our staff are actually going to be teaching and helping out with your staff. So if your staff is there, it's so awesome to be able to hear from other people's staff, like what they're doing and giving them guidance on what they're doing in their gyms as well. Like it's really cool when the owner can be in an owner's type track and come back and be like, hey, what'd you guys learn over there? Hey, we could be doing some other things, and look what they're doing with their staff and stuff like that. It's so awesome when you get everybody on fire. Okay, on top of that, we have Adam Forte. Forte is going to be teaching. I don't know exactly what he's going to be teaching, but
everything.
He teaches everything. So I don't know which category, but from staff training to
baskets, he's incredible at baskets.
Tumbling, he's probably one of the most well-rounded people that I know when it comes to that. Like we've had him come to our gym for all kinds of different things. But Jason Larkins is going to be there. Jason's got his own podcast as well. Phenomenal. Yeah, really, really.
That's
awesome.
what I was going to say. I know he's a director, but also I love the podcast. So.
Yeah, but great guy. We've met him a couple of times now. Super great guy, and we listen to his podcast as well. Dan Cotton and his Dream Camp staff are going to be there. And I think they're going to be assisting with a lot of the hands-on stuff as well. Dan runs an incredible Dream Camps camp, and so he's actually got two of them, one in Oregon and also one in Florida this year. So
we're about to
awesome stuff.
I'm bringing my kid for the second year in a row.
Yep, awesome. And then we have Ramel Asuna. I'm making sure
tumbling director at World Cup.
Yeah, the tumbling director at World Cup.
I've actually never met him. I know Shelly is a huge fan. We're not we're in small town Missouri, so some of the, cheer celebrities, Justin and I just don't know him. Sounds like he's pretty amazing. I have heard only great things from everybody, and Shelly's probably like this right now. How do you not know?
Where are you guys live under a rock or what? Yeah, I'm sure she's saying that right now.
We're in a town of 20,000.
We live in a cave, okay? So stop. But at the same time, the cool thing is to be well-rounded at these conferences where your staff can listen to Adam, listen to Jason, and listen to Ramel, and hear all these different techniques and different ways of doing things, and just different perspectives on things. It just makes you a better coach and a better well-rounded gym owner. So just really, really cool. On top of that, we have the most sponsors we've ever had, and guys, we just don't hey, sponsor, come on in. We've never used you before, but you sound great. No, we use all these sponsors, and these sponsors have to deliver. We don't want throwing sponsors out there that don't deliver the product that they say they're going to deliver. So all of these people, Tumble Track is one of them, Jackrabbit, iClass Pro, Pop Drops. What is Pop Drops, Daniel?
I just spent $600 there today.
She is addicted.
I am. Darn their text message marketing. It works.
Cheer Sounds, incredible, awesome people. CS Athletics for your uniforms and
warm-ups, practice wear.
You want to make some money? They're great. Forte Spirit Solutions. So Adam and his crew.
Adam and Jess, but I think only Adam will be there this time. Jess has choreography.
But there's be some other people there with him. We have Jerry Hughes Photography. Guys, I never thought a random photographer would be great.
You're so rude.
I didn't know him. I didn't know him, but after we got to meet him and seeing what he does, he's been at our gym 3 times now? 2 times?
He thinks we're random, Justin. He's been in the industry longer than we have.
Well, he's been in there forever, but I'd never met the guy before. We met him. Awesome. Brought him out to our gym. He's incredible. Does a great job. He ended up doing our senior pictures for our son as well.
Those were really good.
Dream Camps is going to be there. I think I said that already. And they'll be able to talk to you about Dream Camps during the summertime. We have a CPA, Teresa Colster CPA, that is direct for cheer gyms. So if you have a problem like getting a hold of your CPA and having questions, she will be there to help you out with that. And then
is she going to be in Dallas?
She will be. And then last but not least, we have a lawyer called Gym Lawyers, a company that will be there and answer all questions legal. And he is phenomenal.
Yeah, if you guys haven't heard him on the podcast, holy cow, he's good.
I think he's been on the podcast twice now.
Yeah.
Really good. He scares you a little bit because you're like, I thought we were doing this correctly. Yeah. And he's like, well.
Dan kept telling us, he's like, man, this podcast is so good. And we're like, it's an attorney. It's probably like, okay, podcast. And so I listened to it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And Justin was like, I don't understand. How can a podcast be that good? Like for, an attorney. So yeah. Right. Hey guys, I am going to show you this because we've had a couple of questions just now. And Shelly is the boss. Oh, come on, computer. It's locking up. Shelly is the boss of this, so she may have more to add. But guys, conference tickets for Academy are $209. Non-Academy is $249.99. All you do is go to ngconferences.com. It'll take you to this big ugly URL right up there. So ngconferences.com has all of the dates on there, the exact location. We've got a room block that is coming out soon. The room block is honestly a really good deal on rooms. I think they were running around $150 a night, which is great for when you're right in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have 4 tracks, skills tracks, managers tracks, owners tracks, and then Shelly's got all the information that you need right there. You can reserve your spot and pay for it right there under reserve a spot. And
there's a lot included with that too. Just, you're looking at that like $249. What do I get? You actually get food with that too. There's food involved. So check it out, jump in there and see what's all involved. So it's going to be, this is probably going to be one of the bigger conferences this year. Honestly, I think it will be.
I wouldn't doubt this is the biggest conference this summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
based on where we're at right now,
yes.
I would bet so.
Awesome stuff. So anyways, you guys have questions, feel free to drop a
message Shelly.
Yeah.
You can totally post them in the comments. I'm going to tag Shelly.
Yeah. We'll get Shelly involved.
So, hey, and guys, if you heard something tonight on this and you were like, hey, I want to grow my business faster. I want to get out of this crappy stage of business that I'm in. Or, hey, the stage of business is okay, but I feel like I've just been in it too long. Definitely go to our website, nextgenowners.com, and click the book a call button. You can talk to this guy right here.
Yes.
And he will kind of learn a little bit about your business and see if maybe one of our programs with the Academy might be a good fit for you. Because you get one life to live and you don't want to spend it working 88 hours a week for years and years and years.
I'm going to go back to the young kids now. We are living our best lives right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm being honest. We're living our best life right now. And it's because we've gotten out of those stages and we're to this point now where we can nitpick stuff and enjoy all the seeds that we've sown all these years. And it's really, really awesome to be at that point. So we want you guys to be there too, because we want you to be there a long time and be able to take care of all those kids out there that really enjoy the sport. Yeah, they need you. Yeah.
To answer June's question, where can you find info on what we'll be able to learn? We do have a basic class listing coming out in just a couple of days here. I can tag you in that when that comes out. It's not all of the classes because we're still waiting some of our speakers to finalize and pinpoint what they'll be teaching on. Yep. However, we do have some of those in already, and so we'll give you just an indication of some of the classes. I think I have 8 or 9 in each of the tracks that'll be taught so that you can say, hey, is this the conference for me?
What we try to do, though, at every conference is make it very well-rounded so that everybody gets quite a few little nuggets from it all the way around. So don't leave. We want you to get your money's worth in knowledge and walk away. Takeaways that you can literally write them down and go home and implement them right there. It's not one of those things where you're like, man, I don't know how they did that. It was so technical. It's way over my head. No, we break it down. You take it back and put it in place, and it works. So, yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, again, we will not be here next week. We will be on a beach in Mexico.
Ay, ay, ay. That's my little.
I don't know that that's politically correct for you to say that,
I know
but
there's
I'll
no
let
words
somebody
to it.
else
It's
judge
just
him.
it's just a sound.
I really don't know that that's appropriate, but
No, when I walk
no,
by,
please
that's what
don't
I
say
hear.
your what they used to call you when you lived in LA. Please don't say that.
No.
No. Okay.
No, that's what they say when I walk by. No, it's kidding.
Kidding me?
Well, it's not. Anyways.
Oh my gosh.
Just
So
kidding.
we will see you guys in 2 weeks for Monday night, 9 p.m. for Fireside Chat with the Johnstons. In the meantime, you guys have a great week.
See ya.
Bye.